What's up guys, Dragunov from Team Zero here, doing a deck profile for Dungaree. Anubis418 requested it, so I figured why not do it. First of all, I run Spark Kid Dragoon as the starter. He's still our only good option for a starter. Then I run 4 draws. I just prefer her to the old Dragon Mage guy. Next, we're going to run 4 heals. 4 heals are always good. Then, oddly enough, I run only 6 critical. And then 2 stand. I run her just because I like the art on the card, and the surprise factor of a stand is always good. People don't see it coming, and it just helps out, especially when you're attacking with a Garuda, for example. They guard that, but then when it restands, they really don't want to guard it as much. For grade 1s, I run 1 Lightning of Hope Helena, 2 Rising Phoenixes, 2 Photon Bomber Wyverns, the 10k boost, only 2 perfect guards. For those of you who don't know, my team, we're more of budget players, and sometimes perfect guards just aren't accessible. So we run what we can, usually 2. But yeah, you don't need 4 perfect guards to have a good competitive deck. It's just not necessary. Then we run 2. Well, I run 2 Dragon Monk Ginkaku. He's really helpful when it comes to Dungaree. I'll explain that a little bit later. And then for 8k vanillas, of course. For grade 2, I run 2 Dragonic Deathscythe. You won't always get his skill, but if you don't get Dungarees, or if you use Dungarees and then you get him, that's 2 units for 3 counterblasts, just like Vermillion. I run 3 Garuda. Some people will run 4, some people will run less, but I think 3 is fine. A lot of people won't let him hit, but if you do get the hit, that's always helpful. It's an extra Dungaree. Then something else people don't run, I run 3 Dragon Monk Ginkaku. He's really helpful if you want to get your limit break at 3. I have a feeling these cards are going to be coming in a lot more handy as time comes, and people are going to be scared of those powerful limit breaks. So they'll just be trying to keep you at 3, but you can just drop this, go to 4, surprise them. Really good cards. And they're essentially costless because let's say you have a heal trigger in your damage zone, you'll counterblast that, call the top card, and then send the heal trigger back. Last of all, we run 4 Thunderstorm Dragoons, the 10k. And last of all, the grade 3s, I run 3 Djinn of the Lightning Flash. I run him just as a preference. You can run Breakthrough Dragon, the other 12k, but I think this guy looks better in the deck. He just feels right. The only limitation is he only attacks Vanguard, but that's fine. I run 1 Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion. Mostly just the reason I got this deck, I had to make Dungaree, was because we bought so many packs of set 6, but we only pulled 1 Vermillion, and I think 3 Ezel, 1 being SP, so I really don't regret it at this point because Dungaree is a really fun deck. It's cheap to make for those of you who want to make a Narukami deck but can't afford the Vermillions. You can make Dungaree. Not necessarily as good, but it requires more thoughtful play, more skill, I guess. And he's just a lot more fun to play. So the last part is for Dungaree, and he's the boss monster of the deck. His skill, when he's called to Vanguard, you bind the top 2 cards of your deck, then you can counterblast 1, well, limit break 4, counterblast 1, choose one of the bound cards, put that on bottom. So like, let's say you have a bound trigger, put that on the bottom of your deck. Then you retire one of your opponent's front row. The only bad thing about Dungaree, which is why you'll never see me calling him to rear, is if he has no cards in the bind zone. If no cards are in the bind zone from his specific effect, then he loses 2,000. So if you ever call him to the rear guard, he'll be a 9k rear guard, which hopefully you'll never do, but even so, it's not bad. It's not terrible. I'd rather him be at 11k, which the new Dungaree cards from set 12, they'll be doing that. They'll make him an 11k rear guard, and I'm really looking forward to that. Alright, that's the deck profile, and I'll just be showing you some helpful little strategy tips right now. Alright, so here's the tip. Let's say you have a situation similar to this. You're at grade 2. You may or may not have used this, depends on if you draw it. You have a Garuda, and your opponent left you at 3 damage after you used your Spark Kid Dragoon. Now, you're about to ride grade 3, so you luckily searched out your Dungaree. You know, Spark Kid always gets you the Dungaree, and then you ride over. You bind the top 2. This is what I got bound after shuffling my deck. Put that in the bind zone, wherever it may be. And then, now you're thinking to yourself, man, I have to wait one more turn to retire that pesky rearguard my opponent has. Well, no you don't. Now, luckily, in my hand, I have both Ginkaku and Kinkaku. So either one of them can help. Also, I have my Djinn, so I'll just call him in this situation, and then I'll call Ginkaku behind him. Now his skill, I get to counterblast 1. If I look at my damage, I'll counterblast this heal trigger. That didn't get a heal. And then I'll get the top card and put it in my damage zone. Now I'm at limit break 4, so I can use Dungaree's skill. I'll use it, or I'll counterblast 1 more to put a critical trigger at the bottom of the deck. And now retire one of my opponent's front row rear guards. Now I'll attack. I usually go left to right, but that's just me. Attack, drive check, crit. Critical Vanguard, 5,000 to Garuda. Second check, draw, 5,000 to Garuda, I draw. Luckily, I drew a second Dungaree, so I can be using it next turn as well. And Garuda attacks. If he does get the hit with 24 right now, I'll heal any damage except for that heal trigger that I counterblasted. Now during the end phase, Ginkaku's skill activates. I put 1 card from my damage zone into my deck. I'll do the heal trigger. Right here without the glare. Put it in my deck and then shuffle my deck. Why this is important is because Dungaree, he'll just put cards to the bottom. And they lack milling from the deck, so you'll probably never see that trigger again. Unless you're able to shuffle the deck at some point. And to shuffle the deck, you can either use Spark Kid Dragoon, the starter, or Ginkaku and Kinkaku. So That's how I found them to be really viable in this deck, is just because they help you do that. And that's about it. Leave a like if you enjoyed this deck list. Leave a comment if you have any questions, or if you want to see any more tips or card fights with this deck. Alright guys, thank you for taking time out of your day to check out our videos, and we hope you come back again.